close enough. So we're going to see Kerrigan and Malfurion banned out. Kerrigan with that first ban from Imperium Pro. Malfurion is the response. Not quite the same decision to just isolate all the tanks. And Samuro actually going to be the pickup, I believe, and I think I'm 100% correct. This is going to be the first professional game where we see Samuro played. The first professional game where we see Samuro played. So Samuro hype. EDC going to be picked up for Facecheck, along with Tychus. Tychus is a hero that's always been considered really good on Infernal Shrines. MVB Black played him even pre-rework. The potential zoning that Ozen gives you is incredible on the Shrine fights, and with the push, if you manage to get the Punisher without having to use Odin. And Overkill is actually just exceptional. Grenades have always been really good at stealing last hits. So I really understand that Tychus pickup, because I think they're going to complement it by going for another tank, or something like maybe even a Zarya. We'll see. Imperium picking up Vala. They're forced to pick up Muradin here, or will get banned out by Facecheck. As we see, there's a pretty narrow dynamic in the tanking world right now, at least at the competitive level. And I'm afraid Varian's not going to change that, despite Blizzard's best intentions. Ariel is going to be the ban for Facecheck. That is denying the Vala synergy, and also making sure that Samuro can't be saved. I believe also area healing does work on the clones, which is incredibly annoying, because you're getting all of that bonus healing, essentially. It also makes it more difficult to tell which clone is which. If we see Illusion Master picked up, it can be even more annoying with the clones swapping every 6 seconds. Illidan is going to be the ban for Imperium Protein. And then Facecheck is going to pick up Brightwing. And Tassadar. So the question here is going to be, who are they enabling? If they're enabling a Tracer, it's going to look... The picks from Imperium Protein are going to look very different than if they're enabling, say, a Greymane. Tassadar pickup also denies it to Vala, which means Vala will not have that bonus health that allows her to play so much more aggressively. Lieutenant Morales is going to be pickup for Imperium Protein for their solo support. I don't really think Samuro is a solo laner without any sort of sustain. They are going to pick up Falstad. I think that Global is going to be their solo laner, so he can come into gank attempts if necessary, or they're going to just death ball all the time, which is something we occasionally see from pro teams. And it is going to be the Sonya. Rocking it old school. Tassadar Sonya and Tychus on Infernal Shrines. I actually legitimately did not think of Sonya, which is a shame, because Sonya, this used to be one of her strongest maps. She was considered the best Shrine babysitter until MVB Black revealed the power of Kerrigan and her Q build on this map at Spring Worlds. So that was quite a while ago. The meta has gone through quite a large evolution of understanding of what heroes can be good at since then. But Sonya is still exceptional on Shrines. And with the Kerrigan banned out, she is arguably the number 2 Shrine babysitter. So it's really important to have a Shrine babysitter on Infernal Shrines. So we'll have Imperium Protein on the left. Trying to figure out what's going to... Imperium Protein on the left versus Facecheck on the right for the global wildcard set to best of 3 game 1. Pretty standard talent pickups across the board from everyone. Block Party is actually going to do a lot. Block Party is questionable, right? It's going to do a lot versus Samuro because all of his damage auto attacks is going to do a lot of work versus Vala as well. But also Samuro's clones are just going to eat the block charges so incredibly quickly. But it does give you that early game advantage, whereas Prog Rock would only be felt helpful in the late game. And I feel like Facecheck with their Brightwing and with their slightly better wave clear is going to feel more confident at getting to the late game if they don't get picked off. Block Party definitely helps more in the early game. We're going to see a beautiful collapse onto K4. He already used Power Sled to try and escape. He's just taking so much damage. Zaze, with that increased movement speed from Hot Pursuit, is just kiting him for days, chasing and chasing and chasing. Not even kiting, chasing for days. And he ended up taking so much damage there. We are seeing Kim versus Nish in the bot lane. Brightwing versus Falstad. It turns out Brightwing is pretty good against Falstad. In fact, pretty good against any hero who has a relatively small health pool. Brightwing puts out a surprising amount of damage. We actually are going to see Samuro as the solo laner. So this is Samuro versus Sony in the top lane. Samuro is losing this lane due to the fact that Sonya actually has sustain. I know people are curious about what people are talenting with for Samurai. We are going to actually see Wave the Blade picked up at level 1, so not going for either of the quest talents, just going for the straight I have damage right now. And both teams going to hit level 3 at roughly the same time. Normally we see a delay until level 4 before the first shrine actually gets activated. We are going to see a trialing for the moment. Brightwing and Falstad in the bot lane. Falstad actually rotating up, however. And Sonya finally rotating down, looking for a potential kill, but Kid 4 misses his power slide, does not get the stun. The polymorph is there onto Zaze. He does have Vault available, however, and Safeguard plus healing from Medic is enough to keep him up. Murr takes a lot of damage, but that's a Muradin. He's going to be absolutely fine. Doesn't even have to jump out. And after that little skirmish, Imperium Pro Team actually ends up level 4 to level 3. Facecheck needs to soak, take that time, get level 4 before they can contest the shrine. Imperium Pro Team's going to take this moment to get a little bit of an advantage on the shrine. They are at 6-0 right now. 4 finally picked up. We see Primo actually stealth going into the backline, looking to see if he can get onto it. And when his stealth wears off, he opts to just leave. And Zaze actually ends up going out in the top there. Skirmish is all over the map. The cameraman missed that, and then so did I. Primo tries... that's not actually Primo. That is one of the clones. This is going to be a difficult... I've never had to cast Samuro before, guys. This is going to be a really interesting dynamic. Kid 4 completely out of mana, gets stunned. Beautiful follow-up by Falstad. That is going to be an easy kill onto him. Yes, does end up going down. I would have been amazed he got out of there, but also very impressed. And we see Austin Singer just spinning to win. It just spin, 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 spin. This is the advantage of Sonya, especially with a Tassadar. The shield gives you a buffer for Whirlwind to just do so much additional healing. And 16-18 right now, but Facecheck has been decidedly forced off the point. Imperium Pro Team is trying to catch up. Currently 26-18 monsters on the shrine. And Austin Singer just going to go back in. Spin, 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 spin. Does so much healing, especially against a Samuro. Without Samura's ability, with his recent nerf, he can't just burst Sonya down with his auto damage anymore, which means healing off of both clones as well as the actual Samuro is an amazing amount of healing. I wouldn't be surprised to see Life Funnel actually picked up here at 13, but that force was enough to get 39, and as a result, Imperium does manage to secure the first Punisher of the game. You can see Zaze playing very aggressively. Look at the beauty of Stronger's position here. He's always over a wall healing his team that's chasing, making it impossible to get to himself. That's how you have to position as a Morales. You want to make it as hard as possible for the enemy team to get to you. I'm actually almost wondering if we're going to see Elite picked up just to try and collapse on that medic, because Stronger's positioning has been almost perfect all game, and they're struggling to get on top of him, and they're struggling to secure kills when he's around. The one kill they secured, Stronger was like nowhere nearby. And we are going to see Austin Singer just rotate back to the top lane, do that additional wave clear, sustain against Samuro. Samuro really having a hard time. Samuro without sustain, his only real sustain lies in the illusion that you're hitting him. And I don't think that's enough to lane against a Sonya. So using him as a solo laner is just so bad, but they're winning the 4-man, even if they are losing the solo lane a little bit, so it's going to be okay. He does end up picking up the Advancing Strikes trait talent at level 4. That does reduce auto attack damage by 25%, I believe. That's correct. Someone would correct me. I'm not 100% familiar with Samura's talents. And he picks up Burning Blade, which is the area talent on crit, which is his W, which is going to give him a significant amount of wave clear, which is going to help him out in the solo lane. Also just really good on shrines, of course, because wave clear talents on shrines always help you secure the objective. They finally get on top of Stronger, but in the process, Tygus gets so chunky he's actually forced to back out completely. Not enough. They do end up getting him. And again, this is the problem. If Stronger is far enough back, they have to dive so far to get to him. All their DPS are focusing your dive in the meanwhile, and they end up going down. Brightwing gets caught out as well. That's now 3 kills to 1. And Imperium Pro Team is giving them the hands, as Kraken would like to say. Those of you who don't know Kraken, someone who co-casts with me. Sometimes you got to give people the hands. That is his thing. Pretty sure he started saying that when he played Kerosene. A lot. And we are going to see Imperium Pro Team just continuing to pressure the lanes as much as possible. They are going to use Samura's ability to safely solo Merc camps to grab those top bruisers. We can see Tassadar in the bot lane soaking, trying to push that lane in, trying to catch up in experience, but they're going to have to give up this Punisher for free. They can't fight down 10, so they are going to rotate up. They're looking for a kill on the Murden. Falstad actually flies in to help out. He will have Gust available, which means this is now not going to be a gank attempt. Mur is 100% safe. Nish actually takes a lot of damage, but he's fine. He has tap available. In the meanwhile, Samuro is on the point, and Samuro, with that wave clear talent, is actually a really good Shrine Babysitter. It's not something I had considered prior to watching this game, but this is one of the nice things about new heroes coming out. You get new dynamics, new potential synergies, new potential everything, really. And with that wave clear talent, he actually clears it pretty quickly. And you can see they are going to pick it off very, very quickly. Still no heroics picked up for Facecheck. And this tower is already down. The wall's already down. This Punisher is going to be pushing directly into uncontested fort. We do see Garnet gets to the jump with the E, is trying to throw shields onto everything to get as little damage on his structures as possible, but Primo comes in from the back, and with Vala and Samuro on top of someone, they're pretty much guaranteed to die instantaneously. Tassadar may be immortal post-16, but he's not 16 yet. 10 is finally picked up for Facecheck. We are going to see Force Wall picked up. Blink Heal Odin, as expected, giving you that siege potential both with the Punisher or on the Shrine. Wrath of Berserker actually going to be the pickup here. They're going to try and strain Morales' ability to heal. And we're actually going to see Stage Dive picked up, which is going to allow them to collapse on that back line and potentially get to the Morales. Meanwhile, Medic Vac is going to be the pickup and is actually going to be used right here just to casually go to the top lane and reinforce this Falstad. They're like, oh yeah, we can go top now. We already done damage to this wall. We have our lane pushing in. We have that bruiser camp cleared up that you tried to cap and push our lane, but we're not going to let that happen. And are they just going to push in? I don't just why go to that fort if they're not going to push in? It looks like they are going to mostly push into it. They're going to see waiting for their wave to get there so that Samuro clones can do full damage. We can see Murden is warding in the bush while Falstad with his global is just hanging out, it's pushing the mid lane. We are going to see a beautiful power slide onto Zaze. He's so isolated, but the vault passed and stronger with the save. Falstad comes up, gusts everyone away. Zaze manages to live despite being caught literally technically in the enemy base. And that is the benefit of Medic over a wall. Like, what are you going to do? 13 picked up off all the shenanigans for Imperium Pro Team. We are going to see Tempered by Discipline picked up for Vala, giving her that healing. She depends on the safeguards for the anti-burst. We are actually going to see Intensive Care picked up as well as the Teleport, Healing Static, and Airy Gust for Falstad. Pretty standard talents across the board so far. The jump. Strafe ends up doing a lot of damage there. Zaze, again, positioned so aggressively, but they try and go on top of her and just medic. Just medic. Ostinger should go down here. He does. That is a nice, clean kill on the Sonya. Everyone's so incredibly low. Mur actually going to pop Avatar, being like, keep healing Zaze. I have self-sustain. It's fine. But they end up getting that kill onto ETC. I'm not sure the Avatar was necessary there, but with that kill, they're going to be able to secure the Shrine basically for free. And Imperium Pro Team at this point, we got to acknowledge they're just bullying Facecheck. Everything Facecheck has tried to do has gotten shut down pretty hard. We're going to see, again, Primo, with that Burning Blade at level 7, be the solo Shrine Babysitter. Vala is going to go tap in the top lane. We do see Murden and Morales ended up backing. Falstad, again, with the global, just soaking. Looks like there's a 4-man collapse onto Falstad here. Nish is in a lot of trouble. Stage Dive even being used. Force Wall. Gust away, but Tychus with the flank. And Facecheck manages to secure their first kill on the Falstad, and all it cost them was technically 2 heroics, although Force Wall has a short cooldown, and a full 5-man collapse on top of him. And their global. And one of their globals, which is, one of their heroics. But still, that's a lot of resources. But you know what? Imperium Pro Team's like, that's fine. We're just going to stop at 39, and when Falstad reses, we're going to push into you as 5 and secure that middle keep. Meanwhile, we'll just back off and get this bruiser camp. This will secure a top fort for us. And we'll probably also secure some of the keep wall if you don't deal with it, but we're not going to let you deal with it because we're going to be pushing in. However, this does give Facecheck the opportunity to potentially catch up in experience a little bit to get 13, which means they'll be fighting on an even talent tier. Now that Falstad is alive, they do immediately cap that Punisher, but it is going to be 14 to 13. They did manage to get 13. We do see the life funnel pick up for Sonya, and Spray and Pray picked up for Tychus, Shield Dust, Prescience, and Loudspeaker, or Space Melt, excuse me, is the pickup for EC. We actually see Pinball Wizard picked up for EC as well, so going for pure W build, which does offer more burst technically in a team fight over Aquapedal, but it offers less wave clear, which means Stage Dive is not going to get that value we've been seeing for split soaking ETCs. And we're going to see Avatar popped immediately. They're actually fighting outside the gate after they've jumped the Punisher over the wall. They really want to take and win this fight, but they're forced to back up, and as soon as they back up, the Punisher gets on top of them. But now that the Punisher is dead, Odin is there. They are getting this fight. Zaze finally goes down. Zaze overextended one too many times. Stage Dive into the back line to try and get on top of Morales. Everyone dodges it, however, and Stronger's not even there. Mur with the follow-up stun to deny any sort of power slide initiation, but they are going to get a beautiful collapse onto Falstad. And it ends up being a 2 for none. And if Facecheck had any chance at all coming back in this game, that was what they needed. That was the fight. They needed to secure those kills. Now they are aggressively pushing in to the fort. They're trying to catch up in experience by getting these structures down while they have this numbers advantage. And we can see they're not even ignoring their top lane. Brightwing did back and is going to clear that. She has Unstable Anomaly. She has good enough wave clear to deal with that lane. And they get the wall. They're going to rotate, grab the siege really quick. It looks like Imperium Pro Team is looking for this fight. They do have 16 picked up. And Vala is going to be alive. Falstad is going to fly in as well. And we can see Brightwing comes in. They're looking for this fight. This is currently a 5v3. It's even hard to tell. Vala comes in from the side. Falstad has fly available. They finally get on top of Stronger. Stronger ends up going down. And Imperium Pro Team missed time. They took this fight a little too early. They needed to wait till Vala was there and Falstad was alive so he could fly in. Ostinger might go down here. Garnet Devil is extremely low on mana. No, does have mana for the Plasma Shield. Austin Singer does end up getting away from Primo. Nish actually gusting ETC away. He is stuck in this top corner. They're trying to collapse on him. We do see the Muradin and the Vala chasing him down. They are both mounted. He is not. But Stage Dive comes off cooldown and he Stage Dives over the wall into his death. That would have been such a good escape if he had Stage Dive just a little bit further away. Like, maybe if you're running away from 3 people, Stage Diving over one wall is not maybe as good as Stage Diving over 3 or 4 screens. But that's awkward decision making. I know I use the word awkward a lot when I'm casting, but man, that was awkward decision making. As an NA Stage Dive right there. No, I'm kidding. NA Stage Dives are actually pretty good on average. Imperium Pro Team going to take advantage of the tempo advantage they have and the talent advantage to push in. They're going to grab the siege. We do see Falstad again pushing in the bottom lane. They have those bottom siege as well. Zaze again taking a ton of damage, but Stronger is there this time, not going to get collapsed on. And Primo already on the objective. And again, with that Burning Blade, apparently Samuro is an amazing Shrine Babysitter. Wow, 15 already. Falstad, meanwhile, threatening bottom keep. Someone has to turn around and deal with that. They're going to lose. Like, if they lose the Punisher, they lose a keep. If they don't deal with Falstad, they lose a keep. Either way, they're losing a keep. Facecheck is being put into an unwinnable position. And we are going to see a 3-man rotation actually here. And Murden actually gets cut off. He's trying to be cheeky, trying to delay the Shrine. He does get a little too deep into there, and you can't get too deep as a Murden versus a Tychus. That is a no bueno. Does end up going down. But bottom keep and bottom tower are gone, and they're just, why not get mid keep too? You know? They have a siege camp pushing mid. We had a siege camp pushing bot. Why not we just get mid keep too? K4 trying for the defense, aggressively power slides in, face melts everyone away. Nish is going to take a lot of damage here, but Safeguard is available for the save, and the medevac is going to immediately be used to go top, and there's no one on the Shrine. They stopped at 39 out of 40. They didn't secure it, and currently, with Primo on the Shrine, or zoning out the Sonya and making sure that doesn't happen, he does use Blade Storm. Essentially, it's an escape there. Doesn't secure the kill. They need to make sure they get that last monster, or they're going to be in so much trouble. Austin Singer goes in aggressively with the Whirlwind, and he's actually fine. He actually healed for more damage than he took. That's the power of Life Funnel right there. They do secure... They do secure that last monster. I was so afraid that medevac, they would like medevac directly onto the Shrine and just secure it, but nope, did not work out that way. Facecheck is going to be pushing with their first Punisher. Odin is alive and well, ladies and gentlemen. Pushing as a Punisher with this incredible range on the Odin is something that is so scary to deal with. We're going to see Mur and Zaze forced to back way up. Primo's clones just doing whatever they want to do. Nish is going to take a little bit of grenade damage there. The Gust does save them from having to fight the Punisher plus Odin all at the same time. The gust did make, Odin wore off after the duration of the gust, after the re-engage happened from Facecheck. So they're only going to get the fort there, and this is going to be an easy jump over the wall for the Punisher, and with 4 towers hitting it that all have ammo, it is going to go down extremely quickly. They're going to get some of the keep wall here, but they're going to get 1 tower, path the gate, and then be forced to back out. Force wall going down for the disengage. Primo with the stealth, trying to delay, trying to keep up with them. Mir with the jumps as well, but the grenade does force him back, and he does end up mounting. Then they actually get the dismount here with Primo with the teleport. Nish as well with the fly, trying to angle in from the side, trying to get the slow with the boomerang, or hammering, excuse me. Not quite enough. And after all of those shenanigans, Imperium Pro Team is up a keep. They have a win condition. If they win a fight, they can just go end the game on core. Facecheck does not have that option. If Facecheck, wins a fight, they maybe get a keep, but not necessarily. But they, can't necessarily end unless it's a full ace. So things are looking really good from Imperium Pro Team. They're also winning the race to 20, and Facecheck is definitely, despite clawing and fighting their way back into this game, they are on the back foot still. They're going to have to make something happen before 20 hits, but they also need to depush their lane because they do have catapults directly on their core. Falstad, meanwhile, with Global pushing the top lane, Zraze and Stronger start doing this bottom camp. They do sense something in the water, however, and back off. I don't think Ossinger showed himself, but he might have. Just a little bit too soon to know. Primo with the teleport is going to be able to get out of there. That is the benefit of that 13 talent, just giving him such good escape. Stealth out of a teleport. Like, you're visible, but then you teleport and you're stealth. It's like the more annoying version of Zeratul. Beautiful fly into the gust, trying to isolate Q4. We are going to see an aggressive fly in. Reinforcements are here, ladies and gentlemen. Vala and Morales. Vala's going to take an enormous amount of damage, actually medevac essentially into her death. Falstad in the backline ended up going down as well, and Stronger is completely isolated. That medevac may have single-handedly lost in the game. Primo actually going to get hit by that beautiful stage dive. That ends up being a 4 for none. But again, Facecheck, no keeps down. They can probably get a keep off the back of this. But they can't necessarily end the game. Oh, that medevac. That medevac was not a good idea. Stronger's had such good positioning all game. Has been, in the back, making himself impossible to get to. And not this time. And Facecheck actually going to completely close the experience gap off of those kills and off of the subsequent structure kills. This is going to pick up Ignore Pain for Sonya. It's going to make her so much more survivable. Big red button picked up for Facecheck as well on Tychus, which is going to give them a lot more area damage, which is critical on this map in particular. Storm Shield, double Storm Shield, going to give them that burst, and Crowd Pleaser is the pickup for ETC, going to give him cooldown reduction on those stage dives if he can actually hit anyone. Samuro clones do count, by the way, so that is a 10-second reduction if you hit Samuro. It's a 30-second reduction if you hit Samuro plus clones. That we're in a potential situation where we could see stage dive into stage dive. It could happen. I'm hoping it does happen, just because that would be an awesome thing to cast. Both teams alive and... Oh my god, are they ending the game? What? Why is the medevac... Why are they going to core without their DPS? Why are they going to core without their DPS? Why? It's just Samuro and Medic, and they're in the enemy base. What are they doing? Is this just a distraction? Okay, there was just a distraction, but they're going to get rotated on. They have the Brightwing, they have the Taskar with the Force Wall, they're denying the stage. Stronger is getting isolated here. Stage Dive comes in and polymorph onto Stronger. I don't understand the decision-making process here. They medevac. They actually are going to get a kill on Austin Singer, and then flying with the gust. Morales lives with no visible health of any kind. The bait actually worked somehow. I don't entirely understand what just happened, but Imperium Pro Team just out-juking and out-thinking Facecheck. Facecheck was like, that's a free kill. We got that. Burned so much to secure it, and Austin Singer in the end just dies. I don't even... And now they're on the point. They are grabbing this Punisher. The middle keep is extremely weak. They are. going to capture the this last Punisher here. And I say last, I mean I really expect this to be the last Punisher of the game, because I expect versus that weakened keeps, this Punisher will just end the game. We see Brightwing pushing out the bot lane, making sure no catapults get on top of anything. We're actually going to see Bruisers picked up here for Facecheck. This is going to allow them to make sure that the top lane is something they don't have to worry about. And if they do manage to bait the Punisher onto the top keep, it will be pretty okay. But that middle keeps going down 100%. The only question is, are they going to lose the game, really? Or are they just going to lose all their keeps? And technically losing all their keeps is better than losing core, but not by a lot. Garnet Evil is going to get isolated, takes a lot of damage. He does have Dimensional Shift available, and he's going to get healed up completely off of that. And we can see the beautiful bait here. We are going to see a beautiful stage dive on top of Stronger. Stronger is isolated. Storm Shield goes down, but that is medevac for the self-peel. He's just like, nah, you already used stun, you already used displacement, I'm out of here. Stronger is going to be absolutely fine. They do lose their healer for a few seconds, but Imperium Protein can just back out, wait for that to not be an issue, and then re-engage. The Punisher is on core. It is going to dive onto Ostinger. He does pop Hardened Shield. Excuse me, ignore pain. We are going to see the spin to win, taking basically no damage, healing so much. Caden 4 is so low, though. We do see Blink Heal trying to get him back up. Austin Singer's just in this backline trying to kill Stronger by himself, and he's actually almost succeeding in doing it because the spin is so real. Tassadar shields are helping out as well, but Tychus can't quite get the damage onto the medic, which they really need to do. Brightwing ends up going down. Austin Singer's going to end up going down as well. There's no possibility he lives. Oh my god, the Tassadar shields! The Tassadar shields are real, but that's still going to be game. That's a beautiful stage dive. Nestor, actually out of mana, ends up taking a ton of damage from the Pinball Wizard. But he just flies over and ends the game. Wow. Oh, wow. The Gus in that game were just... And some of the medic plays, Stronger was so good. So good with his positioning, but some of his medevacs... were like, why are you doing this? And you gotta ask, like, was that a miscommunication? Was it, we're supposed to go 5-man medevac into core, and 3 people didn't get the memo? Or was that, yeah, we're going to bait them into thinking we're backdooring, and then we're going to walk out? Like, we're just going to walk away? They walked away. Like, in fairness, that was an amazing game. It was an amazing game. I look different. For those of you just tuning in, this is the Gold League World Championships. Looks like we're having a little bit of error. We're going to have to refresh. This is the Gold League World Championships. They started last Friday night, I believe. 1 a.m. PST, so technically Saturday morning. I'm casting them from the VODs. Just because I was not aware that there was going to be a clean feed available. Starting next week, I will be casting them live from the clean feed at 1 a.m. PST. That'll be on my birthday, actually, the 19th. And we saw MVP Miracle versus Tempest game 1, or set 1. MVP Miracle did take it 2-1 over Tempest, and now we're watching Imperium Pro Team versus Team Facecheck. That was game 1. We're having a little bit of problem with the VOD. We're just going to fast forward to the new place. This is not my version of doing a replay. I'm just, it literally, the VOD literally broke for a second, so I have to reload it and fast forward. We're going to check out the next draft, if we can find it. It'd be nice when I'm not casting this from a VOD, don't have to randomly fast forward through things. There we go. So this will be Game 2, Imperium Pro Team versus Team Facecheck, the Gold Club World Championship, and it will be on Sky Temple. For those of you who aren't familiar with this event, there are 8 teams that are going to be participating in the final bracket, but this is the Wildcard qualifier. This is the 3 and 4 teams from various regions around the world that were not otherwise invited directly to the tournament. This is their chance to qualify to prove that they're the best, second best, or third best team in the world for their region. Zero Panda has already been invited. Super Perfect Team has already been invited. Ballistics has already been invited. Astral Authority has already been directly invited. So you are going to see those teams in the following upcoming weeks. We're just not quite there yet. Malfurion is going to be the ban for Imperium Pro Team, and Samurai is going to be the ban for Team Facecheck. I guess that is kind of a respect ban. Imperium Pro Team did work. in that last game with Samuro. And Samuro also good on Sky Temple. Like, he's also good on the objective on Sky Temple. We talked about this in the previous game we cast on Sky Temple, but you can stay on the objective and do a lot of work without taking any real damage. Tychus is going to be the pickup for Facecheck. They seem to really like that Tychus. And Imperium is going to pick up ETC Li Ming. This is arguably Li Ming's best map. And, it's always a question, do you prefer ETC or do you prefer Murden? Koreans seem to prefer Murden, and the rest of the world seem to prefer ETC. But on really big maps, especially with Stage Dive being in the positions in right now, I think ETC might be a little bit better than Murden on Sky Temple. Facecheck is going to pick up Murden, sort of Hobson's choice. They want to make sure they get one of the tanks before the second ban phase. They're also going to deny the fall stat by picking it up themselves. I actually don't recognize that flag. Does anyone recognize that flag? I think Team Facecheck is Taiwanese. Yeah, Team Facecheck is indeed from Taiwan. This is Game 2, Imperium Pro Team versus Team Facecheck of the Gold Club World Championship Wildcard Qualifier. So after the second ban phase, we are going to see Illidan banned out by Imperium Pro Team. And Vala banned out by Team Facecheck. Brightwing and Zeratul are going to be the pickups for Imperium Pro Team. Brightwing gives them a global, and Zeratul gives them hunting potential. This, I think, is arguably Zeratul's best map. I know Glowring really likes, for instance, Zeratul and Sky Temple. There's just so much hunting potential. And when you're playing Zeratul, it really does feel like you are hunting people down. Zeratul also usually considered very good against Falstad because he can 100-0 him. If played well, and you can deny the disengage with that Vorpal. Vorpal is actually considered sort of the direct counter to Falstad's ability to disengage with Barrel Roll. Imperium is from the Philippines. That flag I recognize. And Rhaegar is going to be picked up for the support for Facecheck. Hammer is going to be picked up for Imperium. And this is really interesting because they now have, with Stage Dive, they have potential for double global with the Brightwing. They have the Stealth, which you don't necessarily always know where Zeratul is. And despite Hammer's relative immobility, she just has slower rotations. We've seen on this map time and time again strong tri-lane pushes, and the ability to defend that tri-lane is incredibly important because every bit of damage you get directly on the structures yourself is damage that the objective doesn't have to do for you, which makes each objective incredibly more valuable. And the timings on Sky Temple are really crisp. You know when they're going to happen. You know when the temples are going to spawn. And potentially the first two, you know exactly where they're going to spawn. So Hammer's weakness on a coordinated team can be completely negated in the early game. And in the late game, it usually just doesn't matter as much. So we actually have started to see quite a bit of Hammer picked up on Sky Temple in the pro meta. We're going to jump right into the game. Imperium Pro Team versus Team Facecheck. Game 2. And this is Team Facecheck fighting for their lives. If they lose this, they are out of the wildcard qualifier. And Imperium Pro Team will advance. This is only best of 3. So this is it. This is make or break for Team Facecheck. And we are going to see Hammer take... Oh my god. That is a Hero League Hammer, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm just going to siege up right in front of their whole team. And then I'm going to die instantaneously. Seems good. Tychus did so much damage with his trait right there, chunking out Hammer basically instantaneously. I think that Imperium Pro Team didn't expect their whole team to be there, but Facecheck was like, well, they're either going to go top or bottom and cheese with the Hammer. Let's flip a coin. They all went bot, and they managed to get the pick on the Hammer. 0 damage done to those towers. Wow. That is not a good beginning for Imperium Pro Team. And we're going to see Tychus just hiding in this bush. Zaze tries to get into the bush too. It doesn't work out. It's so funny when that happens. And you're trying to get into the bush and there's someone already there. And you can't actually see them until you're in the bush. We are going to see KD4 in a tank versus tank duel. ETC versus Murder in the top lane. Both of them walk away from that, realizing that's silly. And all their damage is like dueling below them. underneath the wall, and they're like, oh, well, none of our damage is here. I guess we should just leave. You're going to see Primo in the top lane versus Tyrael. You can talk about awkward solo lane matchups that you never see. Tyrael versus Zeratul. How often have you seen that solo lane matchup? Bet the answer's not often. You're probably going to be seeing more of it after the patch with the Zeratul buffs. Zeratul actually considered an exceptional solo laner. MVB Black in particular actually really likes running him as a solo laner. On Sky Temple. No less. In the top lane. And we are going to see Hammer not rotate, just going to continue to pressure. And again, if they can trade even and have that push from Hammer in the bot lane, that's actually a good, really good advantage for them. And currently, Facecheck is getting the top temple, Imperium Pro Team is getting mid, but they're actually getting forced off in this 3v3. Tychus is chunking absolutely everyone. Stronger is going to be able to heal all of that up because it was spread damage, which is the kind of thing Brightwing excels at dealing with. We can also see Nish finally rotating as Hammer. Falstad did fly down to the bottom lane to deal with him, and so he was like, no, I'm not going to fight you 1v1, but Falstad actually comes back up. I should say rotated down. He actually rotated down and then flew back up to the lane. And they actually managed to force them off. So the mid-temple is going to go mostly over to Facecheck. Not mostly, maybe a 50-50 split. But top temple still available, and so far top temple has gone completely over to Facecheck. So if Facecheck contests top temple and wins all of it, they'll actually have ended up ahead overall in shots, and they're pretty even in experience right now. Seems like they have a little bit of a stronger handle on the map. Murr is extremely far forward, just zoning for his team, and he's taking a little bit of damage, but it's Tyrael Muradin versus an ETC. It's like not a super threatening situation. The damage, however, is here, and we can see Hammer slowly treading her way up here. Not going to be able to get there for a while. Now she is here, though. They're going to turn and immediately get that kill onto Falstad. Tychus trying to get the chunk again. Hammer just sitting there. Every time Tychus pops a straight, and Hammer's just like, yeah, I can take this. And then it's like, no, you can't. Tychus managed to get out of that, as does Hammer. But off of the back of that kill, Imperium Pro Team is going to pick up 6, and they're going to pick up the rest of the shots on this top temple. I don't think that Facecheck can contest this. And they're going to protect the Hammer while Hammer pushes in to this wall. This, again, every piece of damage you get on the structures directly is damage that the objective does not have to do for you, which is a huge advantage going into the late game. Sometimes you can be even on experience, but be ahead on structures. Just trade and win the game solely off of that. It's up to the team that's behind on structures to make a play, to make something happen. The pressure is always on the team that's behind on structures. So with the Hammer, they're trying to make that happen, but the dive in, Mir actually comes down for the peel. Beautiful power slide into the face melt. Niche is actually going to be fine. And the tri-lane is real. We do see Brightwing and Zeratul in the mid, or excuse me, Li Ming and Zeratul in the mid. Brightwing does Z in. Falstad actually immediately flying up as well. They're focusing on Zay's here. He does barely get away. Did not take Force Armor at level 1. Would not have gotten as strength if he'd had, but does barely manage to live through that. And Facecheck forced to back up here from the rotation from Mir and Nij, and they're actually going to... Oh, the Zeratul blinks in, gets the power, the Singularity Spike plus Cleave combo, gets the auto attack, and actually does end up finishing off Tychus. And on the back of that, they get level 7. They're going to force the siege here, just take it away. It's actually very bad for Facecheck for that to happen. The siege, the mercenary timings on Sky Temple are quite specific. And usually you get the siege right after that first temple phase to push into the bottom lane so that your bottom lane is pushed out as far as possible, and you have potential to get the well. Getting that siege is going to delay Facecheck from dealing with this push, and they're going to actually get the well here. Getting the well here pretty much ensures Imperium Pro Team should win the bottom temple 100% of the time, because they can back off and tap, and Facecheck cannot. Which means that Imperium essentially has 2 health bars for the bottom temple phase, and Facecheck does not. We can see Falstad fly in, try and secure the kill on Zaze. Zaze gets out, and that actually ends up being a 3-for-1. Brightwing does finally end up going down in the backline. Oh, wow. I did not expect Team Facecheck to go that deep on that fight. I guess they felt like they were so behind. Mir might actually end up going down to the Tyrael explosion. No. Guitar Soul is enough to heal him. It did come off cooldown. Got that heal just in time. And Temple phase is up in 4 seconds. Hammer is actually going to get the entire bottom fort before the Temple even starts at this rate. And again, every bit of structure damage you get is structure damage you don't have to get with the objective. Imperium Pro Team going to pick up 10 here momentarily. They are so incredibly far ahead. No forts down yet for Imperium Pro Team. Facecheck has lost bottom fort. Could easily lose mid fort. I'd sub if you had a button. Well, I'm not yet there, guys, where I have enough regular viewers to have a sub button, but I'm working on it. I promise. Imperium Protein. Gonna have Hammer rotate. Oh, they're actually just gonna do boss, just casually. ETC did finish off the bottom temple. Gus not available. There's no boss control tools for Team Facecheck. They know they're far behind. They don't know that boss is being happened, but they don't see anyone else on the map, so they kind of assume that it's happening. They did get their bruiser camp. They are going to push in top. If they can get top fort and have Falstad soak bottom at the same time, they could probably pick up 10 and then defend. Garnet Devil might actually end up going down here. He does barrel roll, and Li Ming combo through the wall does end up finishing him off. And Facecheck actually backs to defend against boss. They don't secure the 10 first. They don't leave anyone else split soaking. I think this is a very, very risky decision. They could easily get caught into some sort of VP combo. And we are going to see the stage dive aggressively into the back line. There's no danger from the tower here since boss is absorbing all of those shots. They do get a free stun onto Mir. This is one of the downsides of stage dive. It's so easy to get the follow-up CC on top of you. But they are going to get a 7-minute, 37-second keep. That is now going to be catapults pushing in on Facecheck for the rest of the game. And that's not a position you want to be in ever, but especially on Sky Temple where structures are so critical and you have to fight over the objective or you just lose the game automatically. Sometimes there's counterplay to objectives. You can, like if you have a Sylvanas, you can push and sometimes get more value. If you have a Zool, you can delay Punishers on Infernal Shrines, and the Zool sometimes get more value than the Punisher will get. But on Sky Temple, you have to fight for the objective, or you just lose the game. Especially once you're behind on structures. So it's a map that is in some ways really snowbally when played correctly, because as soon as you fall behind on the structure lead, the other team can just bully you constantly. We actually see Judgment picked up for Tyrael. We almost never see that outside of Tracer combos, and we see it does absolutely no damage. Basically not scary in any way, shape, or form. The only time it would be scary is if they had the dive burst to follow it up to secure a kill off of it. But as you can see, pretty much nothing happened there. I'm not sure why Judgment was the pickup. I guess they didn't think Sank would get any value because of Void Prison, so they're like, well, you have Zeratul, we'll just go not Sank. But Judgment didn't get any value either. At least Sanctification would trade for Void Prison if that was a risk. I don't like a lot of Team Facecheck's decisions this game, but I think the Imperium Pro Team is just playing better and really bullying them off the map. We do see ETC abusing the fact that he does have that global. He's securing bottom temple, while top is being secured by the rest of his team. And as soon as this fight gets going in earnest, he will just stage dive in. We can see the Siege pushing into the bot lane. Falstad trying to deal with that. Siege plus catapults are a real threat for real core damage. And are you going to see CTC stage diving here momentarily? Yeah, K4 ends up going down. The Ancestral does end up missing. I don't know why the Observer went over the Nexus, but he did. This is going to end up being a 3-for-1. Li Ming does end up going down. Again, didn't pick up Force Armor at level 1. Would have survived all the fights that she's died in, I think, with that small change. But also would have done less damage, so maybe wouldn't have secured as many kills as have been secured so far. That is double Siege Camp and Catapults pushing into the bottom lane. Meanwhile, Hammer is going to just casually take out the entire top fort wall. A lot of shots left in that top temple and in the bottom temple as well. They're going to rotate to get that. We just see Zeratul rotating down. This is a 3-level lead for Imperium Pro Team. They're ahead on structures, they're ahead on levels, they're ahead on kills. There's really nothing they're not just ahead on at this point. We're going to see Judgment try and secure the kill Stronger with the juke, with the blink heal, but enough stuns actually come down to finally secure that kill onto Stronger. But Mir is there now with the peel. Encore actually going to help a little bit there with that additional peel. I think the slow would have done more for the save, but it was just recently nerfed. And Mir actually going to go down as well, not managing to save himself, although he does manage to save Nij. And the middle keep actually didn't go down to the remaining shots from bottom. We are going to see Li Ming start to get resets here. She gets that kill on Tyrael. The explosion actually gets on top of Hammer. Just sort of sat there and ate it. And we're going to see an aggressive fly here. EC will be alive in 20 seconds. He will have stage dive available. Brightwing will be alive in 7. We'll have phase shift available. Primo actually going to go down here as well. And Imperium Pro Team just didn't know when to leave. They just didn't know when to leave. They were so far ahead, and they just didn't know when to leave. But Catapult's still pressuring bottom. Middle keep actually might even go down to natural minion pressure here momentarily. It is starting to get very low, and that minion wave is very, very far pushed out. At this point, Imperium Protein needs to wait for their res timers, collect, and then get 16. Not be so aggressive as a team when they're all split up like that. They can clearly win the 5v5s, but I think they got a little overconfident there for just a moment, staying a little too long and re-engaging in a fight they really didn't need to. They're a little too hungry for those kills. They are going to back up, recollect, though. They're going to grab their siege. They're going to grab their bruisers. Facecheck grabbing their bruisers as well. Trying to get that lane pressure, but of course Imperium Pro Team now 16 to 14. They haven't, again, a talent tier advantage. We are going to see the imposing presence be the pickup to deal with that Tychus. That's a mandatory talent in my mind when you're in EDC versus a Tychus, so I like that pickup. Stone Skin for Hammer, going to give her even more survivability. Hypercooling Engines was a pickup at 7. No first aid, but you see Primo scouting the siege there, using and abusing his stealth. And are we going to see an invade? We aren't going to see an invade. I think they thought about it, but they decided not to do it. They weren't going to get there in time. And that'll be Siege pushing. That will help a little bit with the catapults. Siege to eventually lose to the catapults in lane. But it's going to help them a little bit with dealing with that lane pressure as they do this. Judgment again onto Zays, and we are going to see Void Prison and then Stage Dive on top of the Void Prison. That actually could have been canceled to guarantee that damage. And as it is, Mirror is going to be left out to dry when the Void Prison ends. He gets absolutely chunked. A little bit of miscommunication there, I think, but Austin Singer is going to go down. The Polymorph is going to secure that kill. No, the shield is just enough. Earth Shield with the save. And Kim's got to feel good about that one. That's something to tell your kids about right there. Yeah, one time this Tyrael was at 89 health, and I cast Earth Shield on him, and he lived. Maybe not tell your kids about it, but it's still something to be happy about. However, despite the fact that Facecheck all got out of there alive for the moment, now Austin Singer is finally going to go down. The Polymorph does secure the kill this time. Despite all of that, they do end up losing the Temple, and as they lose the Temple, they also lose Middle Keep. That means Catapult's in the mid lane as well, and there's not enough shots to secure that top keep just yet. I think only 5 shots left, so it's not quite going to do it. It is extremely close, but this is going to be a boss attempt from Imperium Protein. They actually have limited boss tools, whereas Gust is available. Holy Ground will be available for Team Facecheck, and Tyrael could get here in time, potentially. And they're forced off. Li Ming actually ends up going down. I think this is way too aggressive a boss call. Mirror almost ends up going down. And with the laser zoning, they actually are going to be fine. Gust is still available. This is going to be a boss steal from Team Facecheck. And they're basically giving... Imperium Protein just gave Facecheck a chance to come back in this game. The fort is still alive in the bottom lane. This is only a 14-minute boss. They do have a jump in their scaling every 5 minutes. So if it had been a 50-minute boss, we'd be talking about a different situation. But Hammer, very good defensively against bosses. The wall is still there in addition to the fort. This boss is going to get some structure damage, which is critical at this point. It's going to help with de-pushing the lane a little bit, also critical. But it's not like threatening a keep, threatening to end the game level of boss. Imperium Pro Team still decidedly in the lead, despite the fact that they tried to throw it. Beautiful judgment on Amir, actually, trying to secure that kill, but he's actually the stage dive gets interrupted. He tried to do stage dive as a follow-up to VP, did not work out, and it will go on a 10-second cooldown. It is still available, but in the meantime, Brightwing ended up going down because she was waiting for that wombo combo she believed, and then she died. Hammer not going to get out of there in time, does end up going down. The boss doesn't even secure that fort before it doesn't go down. Doesn't scale every minute. Bosses get stronger every minute, but every 5 minutes, the amount of the scaling jumps. So they get stronger every 5 minutes than they do every minute, if that makes sense. It's kind of a stepwise scaling. It's not completely linear. We are going to see Austin Singer try and secure some shots from the Middle Temple. He should be able to get away, honestly, but nope. The Vorpal Blade does deny, and he actually judgments onto Primo. I don't know about the decision. This is a 3v3 right now, but BP's not available yet. The Niche finally rotates in. Oh my god. Austin Singer lived through that somehow. Blood for Blood actually ended up being critical in securing. Not even securing, and him living through that. That was absolutely insane. I can't believe he went that deep to secure a few shots. But this is core. This is core. They actually need to... I take it all back. They actually need to secure both temples in order not to just straight lose the game. Full shots from a single temple when there's no other structures alive will kill core. And we can see they're splitting up, trying to make this happen. KT4 is going down to deal with Mir in the bottom lane. Stronger is there as well, so this is a 2v1. It's about to be a 3v2 with the rotation of Tychus and Rhaegar. But this makes it a 2v3 at the other temple. Mir is forced back. Brightwing ends up Z'ing into the other event. Stronger actually is extremely low, though. Barely lives through that. Tyrael ends up going down, but he does kill Stronger. No Stronger live. No! Garnet Devil comes in with the Team Secura. You have been avenged! Austin Singer, 36% on core. Gust, again for the deny. Tychus is going to live. He lives! He lives! The Ancestral, the Chain Heal, and then the Ancestral. And Primo, however, is on core. VP's the next, just to make sure no one's hearts back to deny. And that's game. It turns out that killing the core is what actually ends the game. And Imperium Pro Team taking a clean 2-0 over Team Facecheck.